Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at the L-575 Ultralight Trike, and there are two versions of it we can choose from. There's the Prime and the Sport, which both seem to fly pretty much identically, and the only real difference between them is the way they look, so you can just choose whichever one you prefer the looks of. I personally like the way the Prime looks, so we're going to mostly be using the Prime in this video, but I'll use the Sport a little bit so you can see what both of them look like. And, well, this is the vehicle. Now, you might be looking at this thinking this is a death trap that would never exist in real life, but you'd be wrong. This is actually based on a real vehicle called the Pegasus Quantum Sport. So you could actually go out and buy something very similar to this and go and try to fly it around in a real city near you, which is what we're going to be doing today. First thing I want to go over is how you control this, because whenever I have a vehicle like this, people always ask, how do you control it? So here is your answer. To control the throttle, use T and G. T increases the throttle, G decreases it, and the only way to know how much throttle you're giving it is by looking at this little lever right here. Right now it's at 0%. We hold down T for a while and it's at 100%. We hold down G for a while and it's at 0%. So if you wanted to take off, you hold down T until it's at 100%, then you can let go of that, and then you hit the down arrow key to get up into the air. Once you're in the air, you can use right arrow key to go right, the left arrow key to go left. You can use the up arrow key to go down and the down arrow key to go up. And yes, it's running an inverted setup, and that is the best setup available as far as I'm concerned for flying vehicles. If you don't use inverted, you're doing it wrong. We also have a speedometer on the left side and an altimeter on the right side. The speedometer can be pretty useful for knowing how fast you're going in some situations, like when you try to land. The altimeter varies in usefulness because you have to know what level the ground below you is. And on maps where there's lots of hills and stuff, you never really know what it's at. But on maps where you have lots of flat areas, you can kind of figure out, oh, the flat areas are at this height usually, and you can actually use it to some extent. Like if I was trying to land in a city street, I could probably figure out exact height of the city streets in this area. I don't know it right now though, so we're not going to probably be able to do that. And right now I'm just trying to fly through these buildings as recklessly as I possibly can, just waiting for me to crash. And I am just doing, like, I am flying great, and there we go. Like, I was flying so recklessly, it was only a matter of time before I crashed. And that was intentional. I'm like, I want to crash. So here's what it kind of looks like when you get a crash. There's really not too much to talk about when it crashes. You'll notice a couple of pieces do disappear every now and then, although this one looks pretty good. The front wheel does come off, and so do the little fairings on the rear wheels. I think this one had the rear wheel fairings, yeah. And then we can look at the little wing thing. It looks like just a hang glider right now without the cart attached. I guess it kind of, or the trike, and I guess it kind of is that. But yeah, that looks all right. I like the way it landed. It landed so perfectly, even though it's all beat up here and there. The damage looked realistic. So let's go ahead and grab the Sport version out so you can see just how similar they actually are. And like I said, as far as I can tell, it's just cosmetic differences. So this one has like kind of a bulbous front on the Prime. The Sport has a sporty front. The Prime has some fairings on the rear wheels, and the Sport does not. Aside from that, they appear to be the same. The wings are the same, the engines are the same, and the seating configuration is all the same. And right now, I don't think any of them could take off because they're kind of stuck inside of each other. I mean, I'll try it, but I don't think this is going to work at all. We're just going to crash into the building. Yep. It was fun to watch, and it was exactly what I expected. Good news is I think I might be able to clear him now. I don't know. It's a risky one. Well, if you can't clear the other guy, you could always just say remove the wings. And you can kind of drive it like this. Like, I would not drive this on the streets unless I had a death wish. But, like, I can kind of control this, sort of. Like, if you go really slow, you can steer it and stuff. But you think the Pigeon's hard to control and not tip over. This is 10 times worse. Especially considering when you hit the brakes, it doesn't work. You have to use the e-brake to slow down. And it does slow down with the e-brake, though, as you can see. So that's good for when you're landing. You hit the e-brake or parking brake, and that was how you would land it. But right now you can see we're able to drive it real slowly, decently enough. But if we actually try to give it some throttle, give it some gas, whatever you want to say, that's when you start to, yeah. It's not easy. Like, you don't want to go much faster than 10 miles per hour when you don't have the wings on. That dude over there, he's still trying to take off. He don't know what he's doing. One thing I could do, though, is I could just kind of surpass him, start right here, and even with this short amount of runway, I'm pretty sure this thing could take off if we attach the wings. So let's try that out. Full throttle, and we're just going to pull back already. So the second we can get into the air, we will. And I just oversteered that thing so hard, I'm surprised that worked out. Like, I was mangling that thing left and right. But it took off, and now we're in the air. So I want this impact to be more on the wings than the body, although I don't know if I have enough control to be able to do that. But I want a nice hard impact on the wings so you can see really how the wings fare with the hard crash. Because the other crash I did was mostly on the body, it felt like. So let's see, can I get a clip? Perfect! That is exactly what I was looking for. And there goes the wheel. And there goes the other wheel. There's a good amount of parts that can fall off for being such a basic looking vehicle. Anyways, I wanted to really mangle these wings up so you can see how they fare, and seems like it fared pretty well. I noticed no real issues with the way it looks after it crashed, so yeah, that looks promising. I think now we should go ahead and move on to a different map just because I'm getting bored of here. So let's go ahead and move on to Grid Small Pure so I can try to land this thing a little bit easier because I need all the help I can get when I try to do a landing. Now this thing really doesn't need that much area to land if you have a good pilot. Unfortunately, your pilot's WhyBeAre, and WhyBeAre's not a good pilot, so we need a lot of room to be able to land this thing. And one nice thing though is the altimeter is actually useful on this one because I know the ground level is actually at 0, so I can say, oh, we're at 10. That means we're almost at the ground. Where the other ones, it's like, okay, I gotta figure out what this ground level is beforehand. So I'm gonna just go ahead, climb to about 100, and then we can start a descent. So we're gonna take off a little bit of the throttle, and then we're just gonna coast. We're falling a little fast, so let's pull up a bit. Still falling kind of faster than I'd want to. A little more throttle on it. And, well, we're falling hard. There we go. And off of throttle. That was a pretty smooth landing, I think. And then we just totally go off the throttle, parking brake on, and we're stopped. It didn't take that long for it to come to a complete stop. So, really, like I said, the possibilities of where you could land this, if you're a good pilot, you could have probably landed on one of those buildings we were looking at earlier. But again, I'm the pilot, so it's not going to happen. And another thing I haven't mentioned is the camera angles here. We have a camera that's over here, and we also have a camera that's in the back seat, which is kind of fun. So you could be flying it from the passenger seat. You're literally a backseat driver, or a backseat pilot. Never heard anybody say backseat pilot before, but maybe it's a real phrase. Might be, who knows. As for controlling this with a controller, though, you can, but it's kind of awkward because you have to use the left and right triggers to go up and down, then use the analog stick to go left and right. But you could do it if you wanted to. I would just not suggest it generally. It just feels awkward. You probably have a lot finer control doing that, though, that's for sure, but it just doesn't feel right. So now that I've demonstrated a landing, I think we could go ahead and move on to do something really dumb, which is try to do some midair collisions at leap of death. So I'm going to do this collision in the simplest way I know of. I'm going to just spawn up both of the trikes, put them both in the air, and then we're just going to teleport them into each other because the other way to do this would be using the map editor, but I have some issues with the map editor and stability while recording, so we're not going to do that. But we will use one of each trike, so one will be the Sport and one will be the Prime, because I figure let's show off both of them crashing at the same time. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to teleport one of them over here, and then I'm going to teleport the other one real close to it over here. And we're just going to let this one kind of start flying, get this one to start flying, and just kind of put them at unusual angles that'll hopefully collide into each other. So maybe something like that could work. So we're going to go ahead and just teleport the other trike to like right in front of this trike. And now we're going to do this crash at full speed, so it's probably going to be hard to follow, but I'll also do some crashes in slow-mo afterwards. So here we go. Aww. Purple glitched out. Looks like, apparently that crash was enough to crash the entire game. So that's kind of unfortunate. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and spawn up 2 more trikes, and we'll crash them in the air again and see if it does it twice in a row or not. Ta-da! Since there's no point in showing the same setup twice, here we are, ready to go at a really different angle. So I'm hoping this one doesn't cause any sort of crashing. And we're going to once again do this in full speed, so let's go! Well, I mean, there's one positive. The game didn't crash. The vehicles technically, like, crashed themselves, but they didn't crash the game, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, they glitched out, and I said they crashed. That's the wrong phrasing, I know. I just wasn't thinking about what I was saying. Anyways, so now we have 2 damaged vehicles, and maybe the parts that cause glitchiness have broken off, so this time they won't glitch out. I don't know. We're going to find out. So let me just whip one of these in a different direction, whip one of these in the other direction. Or they'll end up being in the same direction and I can't whip them around in time. One of the two will happen. There we go. That should be good. Yeah. So we'll move the yellow over to here. And that looks pretty good. I think they'll hit. Let's see. Go. Perfect. And they didn't glitch out. So whatever pieces were causing the glitchiness disappeared. Like, you notice when you have visible pieces, it's usually whatever caused the glitch. Oh, no. Okay, that one's dead. That one is also dead. So I guess that idea doesn't seem to work out too well. I mean, the only thing I can think of is maybe reduce the impact. So have only one of them flying and the other one's just kind of falling. That might work. I don't know. We'll find out. So yeah, this could work. Just put the other one right behind the yellow right here. And we're going to rear end them basically. I think that looks like a pretty good alignment. Zoom out a bit and go. Hey, it didn't crash. I'll take it. I will gladly take it. You know, I'm curious. Can we make it where we have basically a hang glider? Like, that sounds like an interesting thing to do. So we go to the parts menu and just remove everything. Like, we don't need a body kit. We don't need the pylon fairings. We do need the wing. And, well, I mean, why remove the engine? We'll leave the engine, but we'll have just that. So it's like a powered hang glider. Let's see if that works. Go, go, go. Oh, yeah. Whoa. This is okay. This is weird to control. The weight balance is all off. Like, trying to control this is not gonna work. I need to, like, reduce the throttle or something. I mean, if I was trying to do stunts or something, that'd probably work out pretty good, but I wasn't exactly going for that. Full throttle! I don't know what I'm doing. You can't control this. This is... Alright, let's try this. Let's try removing the engine, because I think the engine is just messing the weight distribution up. So now it's really just a hang glider. Does that work? Oh, yeah, there we go. That's controllable. So this mod comes with a bonus hang glider mod, basically. If you remove every part but the wings, you basically got a hang glider going. I mean, yeah, it's not exactly like one, but it's pretty close. And I do have some resemblance of control over this one. Like, I can make it go right into the wall, like I'm trying to do. But we're not going that fast, so it's kind of just going to go dink right off of it. Oh, no! Well, there's one side effect of trying to use it as a hang glider. The wings are not the focus. That little piece of metal is what the camera was going to follow. But I thought that was pretty interesting. Since plane-to-plane collisions are working so terribly, what if we tried to do a vehicle-to-plane collision and see if that works any better? So let's go ahead and move over to a map that'll work for that, like Ultimate Test Terrain. So let's see if the trike fares any better with a collision with another vehicle versus another trike. Like, it might just be something with the way two trikes collide that cause strange issues. I've seen weirder things before, so I'm gonna see if using a crash cart plus the trike will be any better. I think it will be, but who knows? We'll see. If it withstands this, it'll probably withstand a crash into a building, though, and that's what 99% of the crashes you're gonna do with this thing are. Like, to crash it into another flying thing, you really have to try to do that. You're not gonna accidentally hit something else that flies. You're gonna hit a building, or you might hit it with a car like I'm doing right now. But hitting another plane is something you have to go way out of your way to do. So this is a 60-mile-per-hour crash with a little bit of slow-mo. And no glitchiness. All right. Although I did take off a wheel. Oh, got that cool jump too. But it looks like doing that small crash right there. And there's no glitchiness to it. It even looks like it crashed properly right there. So yeah, just don't crash air to air, it looks like. That's pretty much the theme here. And that's all we're going to do here. We're going to now move on to another map because I had another dumb idea I want to try. And I think the only place I can really try this out is Grid Small Pure. What I want to do is I want to get two trikes, spawn them inside of each other, then try to fly them both at the same time so they actually kind of share a wingspan. Like what I did earlier, but this time I'm actually going to do it on a flat surface where there's nothing for the wings to crash into, where it may or may not work. Probably not, but worth a shot. So I'm having them accelerate both at the exact same time, and then I'm going to have them lift off at the exact same time for each. And oh my goodness, it's working. Okay, then we're going to level off at the exact same time for each. Like so. And I'm actually flying it. The double trike. Oh no, it's flipping, and I have no idea what controls to hit when it does that. Like, I would be afraid to do anything at this point because it's like I got two of them I'm trying to control. But it actually worked. Like, better than I expected. I got off the ground. That is an achievement to me. It got off the ground. So I think we're done here. So let's go ahead and do one more thing at the port. And all I want to do right here is just drive this thing around like a car. So we're going to take off the wing and do it just like before, but this time I have some more difficulties to work with because I can't just roll down the hill and there's obstacles in the way. So this should be interesting, I would think. And we're going to just go a little bit of throttle and then off the throttle and let it roll. Little throttle off. Little throttle off. All right, so now we got some momentum. And steering is hard because if I steer too much, it's going to flip over just like the Pigeon. Although it's a lot less stable than the Pigeon because it can also kind of end up getting into an oversteery, understeery thing where it's like it could do either one at any moment, it feels like. So it really is scary to drive like this. Like if I go right like that, oh goodness. I gotta go like little turns, no big holding down left, holding down right kind of maneuvers here. Oh man, you think the Pigeon's terrible to drive. This thing is a death trap to try to drive like this. Like this is as fast as I can take it before I feel like I'm gonna flip. Let's see if it works as a boat. Hi! Oh, yeah. Don't touch the water, I guess. Now, doing things like throwing this down Leap of Death or throwing it down the cliff and Brutal Slope and all that really don't make much sense, but it is tradition. So we'll do just one thing at Leap of Death and that'll be it. I guess the best way to approach this is to stop a little bit down this hill, or all the way down this hill, I mean, and then just become the trike here. I'm thinking. I honestly have no idea exactly what to do with this. I mean, it's gonna be weird. I guess what I'll do is I'll fly for a little bit and then I'll just dive. So like then we dive. I'm telling it to dive. It's just doesn't really, it doesn't want to dive. Fine, we'll just roll around and then try to pull up into the mountain. I want to hit the mountain somehow. Yeah, this is why it made no sense to do this in the first place. Hooray, now roll. Now just keep going. Well, that was underwhelming, as expected. I don't think it's going to make it, is it? Oh, well, nope, nope, that's it. So that'll do it for this thing. It felt like a kind of short video, so there's probably some things you guys would want to see that I haven't done yet, so you can feel free to request them, and if there's enough things, I will make another video for it. But otherwise, until next time, this is WhyBeAre. I'll see you.